We can see each other. All right, welcome everyone. I'm Kelly Young. Thank you so much for being here. I am very excited to share with you about our mentor training program, at the Advancing Inclusive Mentoring Program, or AIM program. Before we begin, I'd like to start by honoring and acknowledging the unceded land of the Tongva, the Gabrieleño, the Hashiman, and the Juaneño peoples, on whose land our institution, California State University of Long Beach, now sits. I also am honored to have with me today and with us an incredible co-presenter, a wonderful collaborator and a friend. Dr. Finney, I'd love to ask you to introduce yourself, please.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, so I am Malcolm Finney, and I am currently the Interim Associate Vice President of the Office of Faculty Affairs. And prior to that, I was the Faculty Center Director that ran the Beach Mentor program. So I'm delighted to join Kelly in doing this presentation and respond to questions that you may have.
Wonderful, thank you. And I'm Kelly Young. I'm a professor of biological sciences. I'm a reproductive biologist. I'm also the director of faculty retention here in our College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics, and the creator and leader of our Advancing Inclusive Mentoring program, which we call Beach Mentor on our campus as well. All right. So today what I'd like to do, this is a short program. This is only a 30-minute slot, but we have a lot that we'd like to cover and share with you, because we are really excited about sharing our program across the CSU. So first, we'll just do a little bit of linking between mentoring and student success, because that is a very strong link. We'd like to describe the AIM program itself, share with you a little data that we have from our 2021-2022 rollout of the program. And then we'll shift it. We'll actually stop sharing slides and move into more of a question, answer, an interview type situation with Malcolm, so he can share his perspective on AIM from his leadership, his various leadership positions. I think that's an important thing for people, especially if you're interested in adopting the program. And we'll have time for questions at the end as well. But first, let's talk a little bit about this program. And I want to draw that link between mentoring and student success. I think this is something that this group knows particularly well. Mentoring matters. Publication after publication have demonstrated that impact of positive mentoring, of inclusive mentoring on so many different metrics of student success, from academic to psychosocial. And we know that this mentoring of students, particularly of students, when we're looking at students who are in high impact practices, is really important. And it's not enough anymore for our campuses to say, hey, we offer high impact practices, we have undergraduate research, we offer internships. We can't just stop things there. We have to ensure that these experiential learning opportunities for our students are impactful. And one of the best ways of doing that is to really ensure that the mentoring they receive in these independent learning experiences is inclusive, is mindful, and is positive for their development and growth. And so we know, hands down, positive mentoring really, really matters. One thing I'd like to do before we go on is we have a quick poll. If mentoring matters so much, it's really important for student success, I'd like to know if good mentoring is defined on your campus. Is it something where that's written down? So we've got this is what a good mentoring relationship does. Is this something that you know you can turn to on your campus? Yes, this is what a mentor of somebody who's maybe doing a scholarly and creative activity. This is what good mentoring does, inclusive mentoring does. Do you know where to find that? Is it something that your campus has? Okay, we have, wow, you guys are awesome. That was a super quick response rate. Let's go ahead. Can you guys see that poll, the poll responses? You can, Malcolm, awesome. So it's looking like 19% of people do have what good mentoring is, and that is defined 35% of you know that there's not a policy on what a good mentor does that's written down and established for your campus. And about 46% are not sure. And I'm going to tell you, those are very typical numbers, even though that's awesome for the yeses. Normally we don't get so many yeses. So this is something that we see again and again, where we could say, you know, what a good mentor does. We could all talk about what a good mentor does. But in terms of having it really defined by our institutions, really acknowledged in our review processes and role modeled for us as we start as new faculty members, this is often not the case. So I think that this is something that we definitely want to be thinking about. And let's see if I can get this to stop. Here we go. There we go. So what we need to do is think about that mentoring in terms of, is this something that we want to have defined on our campus? And is this a conversation that we want to open up? Mentor training programs exist. They're around the nation. This is something that has been developed. One thing that we found when we started our mentor training programs, and we started this in 2015 at Cal State Long Beach, and we were using a nationally established program, but we found that the program was designed specifically for graduate students, particularly at R1 universities. Many of them are designed for postdoctoral fellows or medical students, and that's different than our student situation. And we wanted something that was relevant for us. We wanted something that was really going to resonate with our faculty members at a CSU and with our CSU students. And this was something that we didn't see that was out there. And so we developed the AIM program, and we did this specifically, again, for CSU faculty, for busy CSU faculty who were not trainees. The thing is about our CSU faculty mentors, so a mentor who's mentoring students and undergraduate research experience, our mentors come in with experience. They're doing this. They have expertise. So we didn't need a mentoring 101. We didn't need this sort of trainee perspective. Instead, what we wanted to do was share best practices and to do this in a community. We really wanted to form a community of practice around mentoring. And we didn't want to have sort of abstract, vague mentoring situations or scenarios. We wanted real CSULB stories. And so I interviewed a lot of CSULB students, faculty, and staff and gathered their stories around mentoring. That really informed a lot of the topics of the AIM program. And that's how we got started. So as Malcolm hinted, the program is called Beach Mentor on our campus. This is a hybrid mentor training program. We've got videos, we've got handouts, we've got quizzes, and this is all enhanced with a facilitated discussion. So it runs almost like a book club. So you go to the online experience, you watch those videos, you take those quizzes, and then you come back to this facilitated discussion. And as Malcolm will discuss, I'm sure, because he led all of our initial AIM sessions, this is where the magic happens. This is where that community of practice forms, and it goes beyond just a training program. It becomes a community building exercise as well. We're really targeting people from across disciplines. Anybody who's working on a scholarly and creative activity project with students, these independent projects, again, regardless of discipline, we invited them in, and we'll share a little bit about our data on who participated. And I also want to note that something that was very important to us as we went in was that we wanted to ground the AIM program in culturally aware mentoring practices. And here I drew particularly from the work of Drs. Angela Byers-Winston, Rick McGee, and Chris Fund. So those culturally aware mentoring practices are embedded throughout the AIM program. So we have 35 episodes that are online across the 6 modules. So communicating with your mentee, inclusive mentoring, facilitating the mentee health and well-being, cultivating mentee growth and development, mentee-centered mentoring, and then the end is a mentoring toolbox of tips. So lots of different tips for our mentors and just different things that they can use in their mentoring practice. Each one of those 35 episodes is hosted by a CSULB faculty member who shares best practices, And then we also have, like I said, our homegrown mentoring scenarios, our stories from our students, faculty, and staff, de-identified, really de-identified, where we share some great practices in mentoring and things that weren't great. And the idea behind this was to make the videos engaging and to stimulate people being thoughtful about mentoring. I have a little clip from one of these videos. This is a scene. This is two students talking about a text from a mentor. And the mentor sent a simple text to the research student that said, "Noted." And that was all it said.
See, he's always writing these one-word vague answers.
I know. He's so hard to read.
I think he's mad at me. He seems mad.
Maybe. I mean, one-word texts are never good. Did you do something wrong?
I thought I was doing a great job, but now, I don't know. Oh, he's writing again. He wrote, "Excellent work, by the way." Jeez.
So he just got interrupted or something.
I just wish you knew how much his text stressed me out.
I know, right?
So that is just a little clip from one of those real student stories. And this one actually has generated a lot of discussion. A lot of our clips generate a lot of
See,
discussion.
he's always writing these one words.
Here we go. Okay, so again, the program is structured again like that book club. The participants watch the videos, review the handouts, take the quizzes. That's all asynchronous, and that's on their own time. That adds up to about 6 hours of work, about 6 hours of training, and then they meet in the synchronous discussion. This is where they share experiences. This is where they reflect on those student scenarios, interact with each other, considering their own experience, both as a mentor at a CSU and then also reflecting oftentimes as their training, as when they were a mentee. And it all comes together. We've done this throughout the campus, and we've had so many of these different discussion groups. And again, even though the videos alone, they can stand alone, it's that discussion group that we found was absolutely essential as our faculty members came together, supported each other, and became a mentoring community. Now at CSULB, so far, so the program rolled out, we had some pilots prior to this, but it rolled out to the campus community in 2021. So it's from fall 2021 and spring 2022, we had over 200 participants. They came from all 7 of our colleges, representing 53 different departments, all ranks of tenure track faculty. We had full and part-time lecturers. We had some staff mentor members as well. The average time mentoring CSU undergrads was 9 years, though we had a range of 0 to 32 years, which is a huge range of experience. And I think that 9 years of experience is critical to think about when you're looking at the next slides, which are some data slides. Again, we're not doing mentoring 101. These are not inexperienced people who've never mentored before. Though we had some brand new professors as well. So what I'd like to do is share very quickly some data with you. All of the graphs you're going to see are organized in the exact same way. So we have percent of participants, that's on the left on the y-axis. On the x-axis, the responses range, for example, from that don't know, strongly disagree, and that's on the left side, all the way to the right with a strongly agree. So what we're looking at here, these are 3 graphs that we'll look at for the videos. Participants found the videos to be effective, that they were engaging, and I'll take that for a training video. That's pretty good. And also that they were useful. And utility is really important to me. We wanted to make sure that we weren't wasting faculty members' time. We also asked about the discussions, and participants rated the discussions as engaging. They said that they provided multiple perspectives. Again, a really important thing. We had participants from 53 different departments. We wanted to make sure we were inclusive of so many different perspectives. Again, useful, and that they allowed discussion of important topics. Faculty members said that they would recommend AIM to a colleague. They found it beneficial, and my favorite part, they said they would make a change in their mentoring as a result of participating in AIM. Now, when we ask them what change will you make because you participated in the AIM program, I have their responses coded as well, they're actually coded for our manuscript, but here this is just a word cloud. And what I love to see are the words that came through. So Mentor said that they were going to deploy a best practice mentor-mentee compact. They said that they would develop things like their relationship with their mentee. Inclusive came up, communication came up. And I think these are really, really important responses. Finally, last little bit of data. Participants thought that the information was pertinent to their mentoring on campus. Also good because we had such a variety of participants, and that each module represented or resulted in good knowledge gains. When we asked them to self-rate their own mentoring skills, you're looking at a bar graph for before AIM with that dark gray and the clear bar representing not at all or somewhat developed, and then the gold and the black on the other side representing very developed or exceptionally developed. We asked them to rate themselves after AIM and found that there was a shift, that they moved over to that more developed in their mentoring skills. So I'm going to leave it here with the presentation part so we can get talking to Dr. Finney and ask him his leadership perspective. But I just want to let the audience know that this program, we really feel that it's effective. We feel that it's not just about the videos, it's really about that mentoring community. The program is up and running. We have done some train the trainers across the CSU and Fresno State, Cal State Dominguez Hills, and soon to be San Francisco State will be hosting the AIM program. Fresno State and Dominguez Hills are running the AIM program now. The AIM is hosted on the CSU Chancellor's page. This is all free of charge. I have a very detailed leader's manual if anybody is interested. Once you take the AIM program or the train the trainer, we give you the leader's manual, provide guidance as you implement AIM on your campus. And we've got data to back this up as well. Our pilot data and the full program data have been published. And the program's badged. So when you're done with the program, you do get that Badger badge, which I think is a nice thing for faculty to share. So, but with that, what I'd like to do is stop the sharing and really get into the discussion, because I think it's important to talk about how you might want to implement, or what are the reasons to implement AIM from a leadership perspective. And that's why, and like I said, Dr. Finney not only has multiple leadership perspectives on this, but he led that critical piece, the facilitated discussion. Before we begin this part of our presentation, I'd love to ask everybody with one more poll. Have any of you in the audience received training in best practices and mentoring? Just so we know where we are. Have you received? Have you participated in a mentor training program? Oh, and it looks like we're missing the no, so that's okay. So have you received training? We have several people who have received training. If you haven't, we have the number of participants there. I guess don't pick any response, and we can kind of judge from there. We'll give it one little second here. Okay, so it looks like 9 people so far have received training, which is about, again, what we see. I think inclusive mentor practice, inclusive mentor training is out there. It's starting to pick up, but it's not as common as maybe it could be. So Dr. Finney, I'd love to turn this over to you. And again, with your vast experience, can you tell us a little bit about how AIM differs from other programs that you've facilitated?
Sure. Well, when I was director of the Faculty Center, we offered a host of programs, but one of the ways in which this program differed from other programs was that we had multiple sessions and engaging activities and discussion of the modules. And they were scheduled like either every week or maybe 2 sessions a week, to make sure that one session builds on the other, because that's how faculty internalize information when we have repeated sessions that deal with overlapping issues. One of the things I also liked about the program was that it was non-threatening. So it was the stated goal that we were not there to prescribe best mentoring practices, but to share practices that faculty have and then have a discussion on that. So we encouraged faculty to reflect on their experiences as mentees when they were in grad school. And most of them really had experiences that could actually be categorized as mentoring practices to avoid. So it was open discussion, non-threatening, and participants learned from each other.
That's fantastic. And again, that was our goal, right? To have everybody learning and sharing from each other. As you know, because you helped to create this, we had originally designed this program for STEM faculty, but pivoted. We did a really big pivot to make sure that we were being inclusive of other disciplines. You've had people from all over the campus engage in this program with you as facilitator. Can you talk a little bit about the applicability across disciplines?
Sure. Well, I was thrilled that the program extended beyond STEM, because when you look at the 6 videos, they addressed a host of issues. The notion of inclusivity went well beyond just having faculty be aware or be inclusive of students of diverse ethnic and racial backgrounds. It also involved being inclusive of students that are categorized as underprivileged, underserved. We have students on a campus that are low-income student, first-generation student, non-traditional mature students, students who come back late, maybe well into their careers, LGBTQ students, and also female students in STEM. Other topics that are addressed include things like favoritism, professionalism, communication in different contexts, power differentials that exist between faculty and students, mentees' health and well-being, mentees' level of preparedness, and I could go on and on. And because of this wide range, I think it was great that the program extended beyond STEM. Also, we have information that could be helpful to faculty working with students or interacting with students in our classes during office hours, if you're supervising a thesis or guided research study, if you have student assistants working for you, if you're an advisor. There are so many different things that the program covered that it is very helpful, not only for faculty outside of STEM, but also faculty at different levels. So lecturers, assistant professors, associate professors, and so on.
And there's a question coming through in the chat too. Do you think that this program touched on culturally aware best practices, like through the topics of microaggression, of bias, privilege, things like that? Can you address that?
Oh yeah, actually that's true. I'm glad someone mentioned that, because I was just trying to recall off the top of my head some of the things that we addressed. So the program did address systemic issues that minoritized faculty have to deal with. We cover unconscious bias, we cover white privilege, microaggressions and microaffirmations. We cover stereotype threats. So those are covered primarily the first 2 or 3 sessions, the one on communicating with mentees and the one on some of the different cultural backgrounds and how faculty should be aware of that. So it was wide ranging, and it did. I'm glad someone asked that, because we covered all of that and how that might impact maybe students' approach to working or interacting with the faculty. So we want faculty to be more proactive in interacting with students, because based on some of these issues and some of the backgrounds of the students, some students may not feel very comfortable in broaching the topic. So we encourage faculty to be aware of some of these systemic differences, systemic biases that exist among our student population.
And I guess piggybacking on that, one of the things, because I've led sessions, you've led a lot of sessions, I know that there is a difference in the level, like where the faculty members are in that session. And so, for example, we've had sessions where faculty members have said, okay, that's nice, that's pretty basic, let's dive deep in the discussion section on these topics. And we have had other AIM sessions where the faculty members, like it was still new, they were still processing. You know, I think that this is an important point where going beyond the videos is so key, because the videos are the videos. It's just like, here's best practices. Can you speak a little bit about how you titrate the session, you know, how you let the where the faculty are in the session sort of guide the topics and the depth and how much you're really pushing the topic?
Sure. Well, one of the things we did was we opened the session to different faculty. Some faculty have been mentors for quite a while. Some faculty are brand new faculty on our campuses. Some of them are lecturers who are aspiring to become maybe to secure a tenure track position. And we encourage faculty to share their experiences, to speculate on maybe some of the things that could have been done differently, some of the things that they have observed, even if maybe it wasn't them interacting with students, but something they may have observed with their colleagues. So we really had interesting conversations where some faculty with a wealth of experience will share information. Other faculty will ask questions about what others did, and they will in turn share information. And one of the things we also do is when we start the next session, we usually start with asking faculty to share if something new happened in between sessions that reminded them of the previous sessions and things that maybe came to mind.
I think that's an important practice. It really brings to faculty this idea of like, wait, I need to be constantly mindful of it. And one of the things that we heard from our participants was, wow, this was so different than a regular workshop because I'm just sort of immersed in this now. I'm using it, I'm talking about it, I'm reflecting, like every time you're reflecting back and going forward. And I think that's key.
Yeah, and if I could add quickly,
yeah.
Because you mentioned this, I'm sure for those who have participated in trainings or sessions involving implicit bias, one of the things we know is that we have a lot of faculty who would say, I'm not biased, you know, I'm as fair-minded as possible. But we want faculty to be intentional, and I think that is the key, to be mindful of areas where maybe they might not have enough time to think about the possible consequences of some of the decisions they make. And they may not have any ill intent, but we want them to be mindful so that they're always reflecting on decisions they make when they work with diverse students.
Absolutely. One thing we often talk about is, you know, the right thing to do, but when the situation gets stressful, not that anything in academia is ever stressful. Like, okay, every day there could be a time when you are pushed, and to be able to stop and have that moment to be reflective before you address your mentee. Now I'm seeing a comment in the chat, and if anybody else has comments, please put them in the chat or unmute or raise your hand, however you'd like to participate. We'd love to hear your questions. A question of, have you assessed the effectiveness of the program from the perspective of the students, which is fantastic. We're doing that right now. We had done that with our prior program that we were using, and we were able to triangulate the data, which is fantastic. And that's something that we're doing now. We're working on the student perspective, looking at how students perceive their research experience from mentors who had taken the AIM training and not. So that is absolutely essential and a work in progress.
And if I might add, one of the benefits also of the program was that we also had some staff who worked in advisory capacity with students. So some of the research aspects of the program may not be applicable, but most of them did express, their appreciation for drawing their attention to some of the things that we talked about, like the implicit bias, the challenges that, say, first generation students encounter, low income students, some of the things that students may be reluctant maybe to approach university authorities to ask about. So we encourage staff to also be proactive.
Yeah, and I think that that is a key piece of the program. Just it's not, again, just about like here, like you said, we're not prescriptive. Do these 5 things and you can check the box. It's much more about opening the conversation and saying, like you said, empowering staff who may be interacting with students, empowering our new faculty to say, this is what a mentoring relationship can do for your students. This is how you can support student success outside of the classroom in these independent projects. And I think opening it up to the campus conversation. And now with your role as associate vice president, I think this, like, how do you see this as in terms of having that campus conversation about what mentoring means and how it is important, or is it important for our students and their success?
Oh, of course. Since this is a CSU session, I'm sure some of you may be aware of the Chancellor's Office graduation initiative 2025, and which talks about equity goals and priorities. And the number one priority, I believe, in that program is for our campuses to re-engage and re-enroll underserved students, especially during this time that we are recovering from the pandemic. We know that underserved students were probably hit the hardest, and we want to make sure that we are able to reach out to as many students as we can to make sure that we help with the retention effort, because studies do show that as a result of the pandemic, student retention has declined. So one of the ways in which we're trying to retain students is to create a community on our campus, a community of faculty, a community of students, where students have a sense of belonging. And this mentoring program goes a long way in getting students to believe that they belong, because sometimes students feel a sense of detachment from the campus. And this is a program that tries to make sure that faculty and students are on the same page, and that faculty are mindful of some of the different challenges that students encounter, not only within the classroom, but also other areas. When faculty work with students and students are aware that faculty are mindful of the challenges they encounter, students tend to open up a bit more, and faculty are in a position to better address the needs of students. So there is a relationship that develops between faculty and students, and faculty may have the ability to help students not only in the classroom, but also in guiding them maybe toward their future careers.
Absolutely, which is what we're all about at the CSU, right? I mean, I think that's why we keep showing up, so that we can do this. Very, very important work. Well, any other questions? Because I know I want to keep us to our time. I know everybody's busy and has other sessions to get to. All right. I put my contact in the chat. If you're interested, there's also a link. There is something that says how to enroll. You can enroll and do just the videos. They're hosted again through the CSU Chancellor's Office system. But if you're interested in adopting the program in its full programness, like all with the discussion section, which I really, really recommend, please go ahead and email me. Let me know. If there's enough interest, we'll run a train the trainer session, a CSU train the trainer session across Zoom for our CSU partners who might want to adopt, and help you get set up to run AIM on your campus. So thank you again. I really appreciate you all showing up.
I was going to add just one quick thing, if I may. Please feel free to get buy-in from your administrators, because without buy-in, this may not get very far. Our president and our provost have bought into this program, not only into this program, but in addressing equity issues and inclusivity on our campus. We have an equity priority task force on our campus. I am a member of it. We have faculty members who are a member of it. So we collaborate, administrators and faculty, to make sure that we come up with a cohesive plan in addressing equity issues. And the Beach Mentor program is one of those issues that that helps, with some of the equity and inclusivity issues that we address.
Yeah, that's a great point. Also, our second manuscript has been accepted. It's in press, and as soon as it comes out, we will be sharing that as well, because I know it's always good to share data with administrators who might be interested. They want to see the results and the student paper in progress. So hopefully we'll have more for you to share, so you can get that buy-in. But thank you all again. Take care, and I look forward to hearing from any of you who might be interested.
And feel free to reach out to us at any time. We'll be happy to provide additional information.
Absolutely. Thank you.